Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston Station, we are ready for the event.
Houston ACR, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Houston ACR. How do you hear me?
We have you loud and clear.
Please stand by for opening remarks.
Hi, my name is Christy Tercy, and I'm the Science Director for Long Beach Public Schools in New York. For the past 3 years, we have participated in the Student Spaceflight Experiment Program, and we're excited today to participate in the NASA Downlink, giving our students the opportunity to hear from astronauts live on the International Space Station. Thank you to NASA, the Long Beach Public Schools Board of Ed, administration, faculty, and staff. Here's Kai with our first question.
Hi, my name is Kai, and my question is, what would happen if you stepped outside of a spacecraft with no suit or equipment?
Hey, Kai, that's a great question. You know, out in space is a vacuum, and there are extreme temperature swings. So we could see -200 to +200 degrees out there, and there's no air and there's no pressure. So that's why we wear the spacesuit, and that's why we fly in a pressurized segment in the International Space Station. The spacesuit provides us with that pressure. It provides us with oxygen to breathe. It provides us with cooling as well, and then it also provides us with a thermal shield. So we've got all of that white material on the outside of the spacesuit that provides a thermal shield for us to keep us safe while we're out doing maintenance on the International Space Station.
Hi, my name is Lucas, and my question is, how does it feel to get launched into space and experience G-forces?
Hi, Lucas. Thanks for the question. And I felt the launch was actually very smooth, and the G-forces gradually increased throughout the launch phase. But except for the stage separations, when the rocket engine stage separation occurred, the G-force gradually or suddenly and dramatically dropped to zero. So that was a bit of surprising. And also when we cut off the second stage engine, that was a time when everything started floating, including our bodies. So that was quite an amazing experience. Thank you for the question.
Hi, my name is Stella, and my question is, what is it like living in zero gravity, including sleeping and moving around?
Hey, Stella. So sleeping is a little interesting. You're going to have to figure out how to trick your brain into thinking that you're laying down. You know, for quite a while when we first got up here, I would wake up and I wouldn't exactly know where I was, and it would feel like I was moving, but we were actually just, I was actually just stable. We use sleeping bags that we pin to the wall to keep us kind of stable there, and then I actually find I have to kind of get some pressure on the side of my body to make my brain believe that I'm actually laying in a bed. Outside of that, floating is really awesome. You know, we can just kind of do things like this without any hesitation. So it's a lot of fun, but your brain has to kind of figure out that there is no up and down anymore, and somebody could be on the ceiling or running on the wall, and that's totally normal. So it does take a little bit of adaptation once you get here.
Hi, my name is Kevin, and my question is, can you explain how the station provides clean air and handles problems like equipment breaking?
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for the question. So we have advanced life support system on board the ISS. So that system provides us oxygen and also removes carbon dioxide and also removes some harmful particles from the atmosphere. So we can breathe a clean atmosphere. And of course, sometimes we have a piece of equipment failure. But we have most cases we can fix it and also or replace it with a new piece of hardware if we have a spare on board the ISS. And if anything critical system fails, we have some redundant backup systems. So we still have a very safety situation on the ISS. Thank you for the question.
Hi, my name is Bryce, and my question is, what is your favorite experience been on space so far?
Ooh, Bryce, I think my favorite experience so far has been it's a toss-up between the launch and the spacewalk. So Ann and I went out the door and we fixed a couple things. We fixed an antenna and we built a part of a structure that's going to hold the next solar arrays. So one of the most grueling experiences that I've ever been through. It's a lot of work and it's a very long day, but it was also the most fun and the most exciting thing that we've done up here. And, you know, it was a really cool example of teamwork. Takuya actually put us in the suit and got us into the airlock and got the airlock door closed so that we could depressurize and get out the hatch. And then he was the one who picked us back up and got us out of the suits after a long day. So, and then during the spacewalk, we got to work with the entire ground team to figure out how to fix problems and how to keep the game plan moving. So it's a pretty awesome day.
Hi, my name is Tashana, and my question is, how do planes go into space, and what kind of lights do they use?
Hi, on Earth, plants use gravity to orient themselves. However, in space, there is no gravity cues to tell a plant how to grow. So in that case, plants, they have to rely on lighting in space. So it's very interesting fact that they use lighting as how to orient themselves. And also, most plants grow best by absorbing red and blue wavelengths. That's why our plant facilities on board the ISS typically use magenta pink color light.
Hi, my name's Amelia, and I have a question. Has being an astronaut always been a dream of yours?
Hey, Amelia, I think much like some of you probably, yes. Ever since I was about this tall, I wanted to be an astronaut. You know, I loved flying and I loved the sky and I loved space. I loved dragging my family out to go see the meteor showers away from the city lights when we were younger. So it's just something that I've always really wanted to do. And then I really wanted to fly the space shuttle when it was still flying. So that's what made me choose the Air Force and choose the pilot path. But you know, you could be anything and still be an astronaut. So we need doctors, scientists, engineers, pilots, all sorts of people to come be astronauts. So if any of you are thinking about it, then just find what you love to do, go do that thing really well, and maybe we'll see you here someday.
Hi, my name is Isabella, and my question is there any bacteria or plants that can only be seen or grown in space? And if so, what are they?
Hi, Isabella. Researchers have never found a totally new type of bacteria or microbes here on board the station. But we might find a slightly different version of microorganisms that we've seen on the ground. And one of our work here at ISS is to understand how these new how these microorganisms change in microgravity in space, and also to see how it'll kind of affect our human bodies of astronauts. So thank you for great questions.
Hi, my name is Sadie, and my question is, what kind of training did you go through and what was the hardest part?
Hey, Sadie, so we do about 2 years of training as soon as we get selected to be an astronaut. That's the initial portion of training. And then once you get assigned to a mission, you do 1.5 years to 2 years more training just for that specific mission. So a lot of training goes into living and working and doing the science aboard the International Space Station. The initial training is, you know, we learn how to fly T-38s, we learn how to speak Russian, we learn about all of the systems on board the International Space Station, we learn about the robotic arm and how to fly the robotic arm, and then we learn about how to do spacewalks. And I think that was probably the most challenging part. You know, we go to the Neutral Buoyancy Lab, which is our big pool in Houston, and we get into the spacesuit and we go underwater and we work for 6 to 6.5 hours at a time. And it is a physically and mentally challenging thing, but it's also super rewarding because it's just the two of you there working with the ground team to figure out how to fix problems and figure out how to troubleshoot and get through the tasks and make sure that the station stays safe.
Hi, my name is Caden, and my question is, how do you stay entertained on long-term and short-term trips?
Hi, Kaden. Space is such a unique environment that it's a lot of fun for me to just be here and live here. And just like Nichole said, floating in microgravity like this, I'll never get tired of. So that's my favorite thing to do in space. Thank you for a great question.
Hi, my name is Will, and my question is, what skills or abilities have you developed in space that surprised you?
Hey, Will, so I think one of the things that surprises me most is that your feet actually learn how to hold on to things. And so we kind of learn early on how to hold on to a handrail like this and just kind of float and do whatever you need to with your feet. It's something that you don't really think about when you're on the Earth.
Hi, my name is Peyton, and my question is, how do you deal with challenges during missions?
Thank you for the great question. So when I face challenges, sometimes I can manage to deal with those challenges just by myself. When I've seen similar challenges throughout my training. So that's why the training for astronaut is so important. And also we help each other so that we can deal with challenges as a team. And most importantly, we can get a great support from the ground. And there are so many specialists on the ground who have a lot of experiences and knowledge. And those people can find a way to deal with any challenges we've seen on board the ISS. So we are in good hands. Thank you for the great question.
Hi, my name's Noelle, and my question is, are there any natural disasters on the other planets?
Hey, Noelle, I love your curiosity about the other planets. And yes, of course, Mars, Jupiter, the other planets have storms. They have dust storms. Some of them have volcanoes. We've even seen seismic activity in some of them, so we think there might be earthquakes on some of the other planets. Great question.
Hi, my name is Lincoln, and my question is, when an experiment goes wrong, what do you do and how do you fix it?
Hey, thank you for the great question. So it depends on situations. Sometimes we get an issue with the hardware that we can easily fix, and sometimes we could see completely new issues that we never expect to happen on the ground. In such cases, since we are the eyes and ears and the hands of scientists and researchers, it is very important for us to report any malfunctions or any issues we've seen here, as many details as possible, so that they can find a way to kind of solve those those issues.
Hi, my name is Jalen, and my question is, do you ever get to make phone calls, and who do you call while you're in space?
So yeah, of course we have like basically Wi-Fi up here. We've got satellites that we use to get the connection with them, so we can call our family. And actually, that's who I call. I like to call my family and friends on the weekends when we get some free time.
Hi, my name is Isla, and my question is, what do you miss most about Earth and what do you love most about space?
Well, we are all apart from our families, so the obvious answer would be our families. And other than families, for me, I do miss Earth nature, because everything is so artificial here on the ISS. Even the air or everything, surrounding us is artificial. So I do miss Earth nature, like mountains, and seas, and winds. And that's something I'm looking forward to seeing when we go home.
Hi, my name is Seeger, and my question is, what's your favorite space food, and how do you stay healthy up there?
Well, I don't know if I have the healthiest food for you, but I do love some M&Ms up here because they're a lot of fun to eat. And I'll throw one over here to Talk, see if he could catch it. Oh, that's a little fast. There you go. So we enjoy a lot of different types of food up here. We've got thermostabilized food, we've got rehydrated food, so all sorts of things that we can eat to keep us healthy. And then we also exercise every day to make sure that we keep our bones and our muscles strong, because up here, without gravity, your bones and your muscles don't necessarily need to work as hard. But when we get back, we're going to need to work hard. So we exercise every day to make sure that that atrophy doesn't actually happen.
Hi, my name is Claire, and my question is, what kind of science experiments have you conducted and what have you learned?
So, since I came here, I conducted various kinds of experiments, including medical research, materials science, and life science, including multiple plant experiments. And what I learned is how quickly my body can adapt to a new environment, and that's quite amazing. And now I believe in human body's potential.
Hi, my name is Charlie, and my question is, what's the biggest misconception that people have about astronauts and space?
Oh man, I think the biggest misconception is that we're heroes or we're really good at everything, and that's just not true. We're humans, we make mistakes, but we're always willing to bounce back and work really hard, and we're really good teammates. And so it's really important to take care of the people around you when you're up here. There's only a few of us in a very volatile and hostile environment, and so we're just humans doing the best that we can every day and working on some precious science for scientists and keeping the space station flying and doing all the maintenance up here.
Hi, my name is Lexi, and my question is, how do you think technology will change space exploration in the next few years?
Hey, thank you for the great question. I think sustainability will be the key to our future space exploration, and I hope our future technology enables us more cost-efficient and more reliable space exploration so that we can expand our reach and expand our area of activities from low Earth orbit to the moon and beyond. And also, I hope that in the near future, much more people can get a chance to go to space, just like us.
Hi, my name is Jack, and my question is, do you believe humans will live on other planets one day?
Hey, Jack, I definitely believe that. Right now we're trying to go back to the moon so we can learn how to get further out into our solar system and eventually onto Mars. And so, yes, I think that humans naturally want to explore, and it's really exciting to go see other planets, but also to learn about them. You know, when we get to the moon, and we learn so much just by looking at the moon and looking at Mars. And so actually being there, living and working, we're going to learn a ton about humanity. We're going to learn a ton about the solar system, and then we're going to learn a ton about Earth.
Thank you again for joining us today. Your participation has sparked an even greater interest in our students' Earth and space science studies.
Thank you, Long Beach Middle School. We enjoyed your questions. We love the curiosity. Keep exploring. Go do something you're passionate about, and we'll see you soon.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communication.